One last thing to finish on Syria. Trump just lifted sanctions after he met with the president in Saudi. And now there's a rumor that Syria might even sign Abraham Accords before the end of the year. What do you make of both of those?
Not much. First of all, the Abraham Accords are anathema to everyone in the Islamic world except the ruling elites in Saudi Arabia and perhaps the Emirates. The distance today between the populations in the region, among the peninsular Arabs and in North Africa, the distance between their ruling elites, their ruling political class, and the masses of the population are huge. I mean, really, really enormous. I suppose as long as they can keep the food available, they can keep making sure that everyone is paid and enjoys a relatively cushy life, that this can continue. But any interruption than that would be devastating. So all I would say is that at this stage, I wouldn't attach much significance to that. That may be important to President Trump's donors and the Israel lobby, and it may be good optics temporarily for America and his friends. It's not very meaningful.
Okay. Tell me about the Caucasus.
Well, the Caucasus, as you know, links the soft underbelly of Russia to Iran. And I'm sure you've had many people come on and talk about the One Belt, One Road. And the Chinese recently, they're one of the first trains to come all the way from China on the rail lines and offload freight in Iran just occurred a few weeks ago. That's the tip of the proverbial iceberg. The Chinese are not interested in Iran and the One Belt, One Road just because they have a dream of resuscitating the Silk Road. It's much more than that. There's an organization they worry about constantly. It's called the United States Navy. And that is that their ports, because of their long, long coast with the Pacific, could suddenly be bottled up. And bottling up their ports would take no more than a handful of submarines. You don't need a big surface fleet for that anymore. You just torpedo or missile somebody coming in or out, and everybody stops. We know that from experience. They have been working tirelessly to build an alternative commercial structure that could move goods and services back and forth across the Eurasian landmass without making them entirely dependent upon the sea.
What the London Real Investment Club actually does for you, it gives you the keys to open that door to the inside deals. In the last 3 weeks, I've participated in 3 incredible deals: a layer 2 Bitcoin protocol, an incredible AI protocol. The deal flow is beyond what I expected. I don't think I've ever seen a model like this that just gives average folks the opportunity to be behind the deals. And that's exactly what we've done. Not only that, you get to hang out with Brian Rose every week. And for me, that was huge because I look at Brian as somebody who's not only an expert in the space, and I think is on the leading edge, but just the leading edge of thought with London Real and the work he's doing there. To anyone who's taking a serious look at this, I know it's a big decision. It was a big decision for me and my family, and it is one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I wish you all the best and hope you come join us.
And more recently, when you look at the Persian Gulf, something else which has no doubt been very high on Mr. Trump's mind is the possibility that suddenly you can't move a quarter of the world's gas, natural gas and oil through the Persian Gulf. And he knows what that means. He understands the impact that a spike in oil prices would have on inflation. So I think that's another reason why he was very anxious to sort of tie a bow, at least on this phase of the operation. The Chinese are very dependent upon that oil, and they want to get past that. And at the same time, you have the Russians. They want this line of communication, this north-south route that runs from the Indian Ocean all the way up into Russia, and then potentially from Russia through Russia and Ukraine and White Russia into Europe, to be developed. They've been working on that. The Saudis have an interest in that. Everybody has an interest in it because of the problems we saw with the Suez Canal. You know, who wants to be dependent upon the Suez Canal if you can avoid that place? Because that's easily blocked, as we've seen. And if not blocked, then certainly obstructed to certain types of traffic. I think that what's been going on in the Caucasus right now really, really touches a nerve. Azerbaijan is the sort of Asian face of Turkey. When I say Asian face, they're facing east, north, and south, whereas Anatolia is more Western in its orientation, strategically, for obvious reasons. But both Aliyev, who is the president of Azerbaijan, and President Erdogan in Anatolia share a similar dream, and that is this Turkic empire that reaches all the way across to Kazakhstan. Because all of the people, until you reach Mongolia, the border with Mongolia, they all speak, with the exception of the Tajiks, they all speak a language that's very, very close. And they see themselves as quote unquote Turkic. You have the Organization of Turkic States. And the two of them have been trying to transform this organization into something more powerful politically and militarily and economically. It's kind of a Turkic version of the dream of Genghis Khan of uniting Central Asia with its friends in the Caucasus and Anatolia. Well, it hasn't worked all that well for the reason that the Central Asian republics, the places we called stands, are all on extremely good terms with Moscow. In fact, all the leadership there loves Vladimir Putin. In fact, most of them take the position that Putin is the only man they can depend upon in a crisis. We, on the other hand, have been working certainly since the late 70s to do whatever we can to destabilize and create unrest in Central Asia. This began, of course, as you know, with the Soviet intervention in Afghanistan. And then it continued, and it got another shot in the arm in 1996, 97 from Brzezinski, who was pushing once again ways to create trouble in Central Asia, primarily for Russia. Then others said, well, this could also be helpful in terms of creating trouble for China.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.